we've got the book Love by Matt de la Peña. And I think this book is a little bit hard to read because it doesn't have characters, it doesn't have a plot, it's like not exactly a traditional book. This book is more about ideas, the idea of love. So what is the book about? What themes are we going to explore? Evolution, the changing of love, emotional diversity, adversity, the importance and need of self-love, and everyday moments. So as far as themes go, those are pretty abstract. Okay, but the book is basically a portrait of different people on different days, all highlighting love, even sometimes the absence of love, and like different ways love can come across. So it's more of like inspiration for introspection, I guess. I think it's a tough book to read. Okay, but I'm going to tell you exactly the questions to ask, exactly what to pull out of each page, so that when you read it with your child, you guys get the best experience. Okay, first page. It's a baby. So this is actually something Matt de la Peña said in an interview. He said, love is literally handed to you. So this very first page, love is very uncomplicated when we're all born. It's literally handed to us in its most simple form. And then it gets more complicated from there. But yeah, he said that in an interview. He said in this page he wanted to illustrate the fact that as an infant, love is simply handed to you when you're born, or should be. All right, here. This is about the love of simple things. So over here it talks about hearing music in a cab, the bounciness of a cab ride through a city, or an Uber ride, or a Lyft ride. And over here, sharing with someone in need. This kid is giving a guy a hot dog. The kid is in a wheelchair. So here, it's like love and appreciation in like very simple things. And of course, acts of giving. I think this is a good page to just like relate, like what are simple, like you can talk to your kid about what are simple things that you really love. I know we all have very simple things that we love, even if it's something like the smell of pancakes. Like I really like that. Or cats. I really love cats. Simple things that bring us joy. Okay. On this page, we're talking about love in first memories, like parents with young children. So like the love that we have in those first memories, like dancing at sunset. Here it's father-daughter time up here. The mother who's washing dishes is probably even very happy that her husband and daughter have that time to bond, even though she's down here washing dishes. She probably finds love in the fact that my daughter and her father are bonding together and they're happy. Okay, so ocean, the sunset. So again, another page to just like reflect on like what are the very simple things that you love and like are meaningful to you, even though they're very quite simple and mundane. All right, next here, there's like some diversity in this. So fire hydrant in the city. You can talk about socioeconomic status. You can talk about diversity here. Notice that the guy in the middle is a police officer. So love in this situation. Okay. The next couple pages are where the book gets like unexpectedly real. So this page is, and the author did that on purpose. The author was like, you know, sometimes love can turn into addiction. Love can turn into divorce. And those are real things that happen, and yet like not very frequently talked about. And so it can make kids who experience those things feel invisible. Like, so he didn't want to make these things feel invisible. So like love is not always wonderful. Here you see the glass on the piano. The father here husband here looks disheveled, kid is crying, mom is crying. So here we see addiction, divorce. This family looks like everything else is going great. They've got a grand piano in their living room, so financially they're apparently quite well off. They've got a whole library. But this is highlighting the fact that love includes adversity, love includes pain, it can lead to addiction, it can lead to divorce. So this is just like the realness of it, and just like the truth of it. Love can lead to these things. Love is not perfect. This is supposed to be an illustration of a family at 9/11, and so like in a public tragedy. This illustration, so here we have love in the form of protection. If you can see the elderly lady here in the back, she's like has an oven mitt on, but you can see that has her hand out in a way, showing the youngest kid on the stairs to stay back, to not come to the TV where everyone is. So that's protection. So the grandma's protecting the child by being like, don't come over here. But again, illustrating that love is not always perfect, and tragedies happen, and loved ones can protect us from them. All right, jumping forward to the end. All right, central idea. What have we learned about different kinds of love? So it goes from like very simple kinds of love to very complicated kinds of love to protective kinds of love. It's basically just a whole spectrum and different portraits of what love can look like, and they do not all look pretty. Follow-up central idea question. Why are all kinds of love valid and important? The good, the easy, and difficult. So Matt de la Peña didn't want to write a book that was just like happy-go-lucky, everything's great. Like, he wanted to show some reality. He wanted realness. He didn't want to give invisibility to difficult topics like addiction and divorce, because there's a lot of kids out there who see addiction in their families and who see divorce in their families and argument and hate. So he wanted to give visibility to that and make it visible, and highlight that, you know, like, love is a spectrum and like all kinds of things can happen. Good, bad, difficult, easy. So yeah, it's kind of a complicated book, but those are some questions that are going to help you get the most out of this book when you read it with your child. But most of all, this book is like very introspective. So on every single page, you can try to relate to, like, you know, like, what does this remind you of? What does that remind you of? Those would be great questions to ask throughout. So get this book from your library, prepare yourself a little bit because it's a deep book, but definitely read it with your kid and have a little introspective discussion.